Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers is building a home in Franklin. The second thing, a source tells me Rodgers would be, quote, open to joining the Titans. That's all I was told. Open to joining the Titans. And I talked to another source in which at least some of Rodgers' current Green Bay Packer teammates think there is no way Rodgers is going back to Green Bay.
All right, that was from Jared Stillman of 102.5 The Game, talking about Nashville. He says Franklin. He knows where Franklin is. It's a suburb of Nashville. And he was doing air quotes there if you're listening to the podcast during his report on Aaron Rodgers. So
I think it's like Nashville's Cherry Hill. It's like they're, super nice, big suburbs, a lot of space. I think it's where a lot of the country music stars live.
It feels like a good place for Aaron.
Yeah.
The Titans are not a easy fit, though, based on what you just said, that the number is over $50 million dead cap for Ryan Tannehill.
When I went to Ryan Fry's bachelor party in 2018, I remember getting in the Uber, bullshitting with him as he drove me to the hotel, and this guy telling me that at the time, Nashville was the fastest growing city. This is pre-COVID movement, which accelerated everything. It was the fastest growing city in America. I remember him saying a number. It was like averaging 500 people a day. I remember him saying it was kind of crazy. It has accelerated since. No state income tax there. You could just enormous properties, and people really enjoy it. Downtown Nashville. I remember leaving, texting my brother, like, I wonder if we should invest in something here. It's fucking awesome. So to me, building a place there, a lot of people have just moved there. I don't think is that crazy. Like that just in itself, rich people own stuff. And it would make a lot of sense there. So I don't put much stock into that.
I think if Ryan Tannehill wasn't a $50 million quarterback dead cap, the team would actually make a lot of sense for Aaron. I think it would make sense for him to play to say, like, my list, I want to go to the Titans. They're in the AFC, right? You agree the NFC is out for the Packers?
Yes.
Or just specifically the Niners are out? Like, would they trade him to the Buccaneers?
But the Bucs draft picks are so terrible.
No, you understand what I'm saying, though. Like, are they just cutting every NFC team out? Like, we are not going to compete against the NFC? Or would they just take the best picks they could get?
I feel the Niners are out. When you just say the Buccaneers, like, do the Packers care about the Buccaneers?
Panthers?
Their picks are good.
Now, he's got to agree, too, right? You can't acquire Aaron and have him be difficult. Like, that's
do you feel like he'd play for the Bucs after Tom or go to the Panthers?
No, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
So there really isn't an NFC team then, unless it were the Giants. Maybe would he want to play for the Giants?
If this team if this team needed a quarterback, you would say, if you're the Titans, why wouldn't you trade 3 1s and 2 2s for Aaron Rodgers, and he'd want to go there, and it would make sense, right? Now here would be my pushback if I'm Green Bay, and part of this is just same thing if I'm Denver. You do that deal. If I trade Aaron Rodgers with the Titans, they were the number 1 seed with Tannehill. What the hell would they look like with Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, it begs the question, which is why don't you trade a team to a team in your conference or a team in your division or your rival?
Because you know they're going to be good.
Right, but I mean, ultimately, he's Aaron Rodgers. Wherever you send him, they're going to be good. They might be in the Super Bowl. It's like, do you want to play Aaron in the NFC Championship game, or do you want to play him in the Super Bowl? Well, if they trade Aaron Rodgers, what are the odds that the Packers win the NFC Championship game?
Well, you'd argue then the most valuable pick you're getting would be this year's pick the day you trade him, right? The pick you already have the number to, because you have to assume the numbers are going to go to the 20s moving forward.
Right. Well, are you trying to win this year if you're the Packers?
Well, are you doing a double whammy? If Aaron's gone, then to me, is Devontae probably gone too? And are you just going to have 6 1s over the next 2 years and 2 2s? Which feels like they might.
Doesn't feel like anything LaFleur would want to do.
But if Aaron forces your hand, it might just be time to pivot.
Yeah. And then you try to work with Jordan Love or get another quarterback, get Jimmy Garoppolo.
In fairness to Gutekunst and LaFleur, if Aaron is adamant, like if the story comes out, he's demanding a trade, you can't really blame them, right? They tried, they did everything humanly possible. They repaired the org. I give them credit, especially Goody. He like got him Randall Cobb. He started asking him about practice squad guy. They tried. It was just, what the fuck are you supposed to do? He says, I'm not playing there anymore. I think I think the fans respect you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame the Packers either for being in this situation, but I think the question becomes, do you take the best compensation you can get, or do you keep them away from you? And if you're going to rebuild, then you could argue you just take the best compensation you can get. And if that happens to be the Vikings, then you just do it. Like, was it really that bad that Brett Favre played for the Vikings? No, but they had Aaron Rodgers, right? So if you believed in Jordan Love,
different though, wouldn't you say? Because he was older. You know, you couldn't trade him in the division.
Yeah. I know this. If the NFL was the NBA, the Titans thing would be realistic because you'd go FedEx, rich, they own the Titans. Who cares about a quote unquote cap? It's a soft cap. We'll incur the, $2 million penalty for every $1 million over, whatever. But it doesn't work that way in the NFL.
$57 million is a huge hit if the cap's 210, right?
Yeah, you can't just outspend the cap, right? Like you can in the NBA.
No. I would say if there was that little $30 million extra that you could
pay, you can't go over. Like the cap is the cap in the NFL.
It's hard capped, yeah. 57. To me, if that number was like 20, I'd be like, well, they'd be in play. 57's too big. I think they're stuck.
John, 57's too big. His 38.6, that's just his cap hit as the quarterback of the Titans is too big.
How much is he making?
Well, 29 base, 5 signings, so 34, plus some restructure, 4.6. Cap hit 38.6.
I think the worst thing you can do is just pay a non-max player max money.
Yeah.
And even though this isn't the contract, I think, is relatively short, it still hits you for these 2-3 years where they would pivot if they could. Remember when they signed him, too? It was like they're in the Brady drama. It's like, oh, were they going to get Brady? And then all of a sudden they extended him. Dumb.
God, he'd be perfect there. Honestly, the AFC South is a little bit like the NFC North. Worse at the bottom, though. Texans and Jags.
I feel like Tannehill then would go to... He feels like he'd be a football team guy. He would have a market, right? He's still better than most
Texans. Yeah.
No, to me, a playoff, like Denver, if they struck out on Aaron, like he would be he would be the number one candidate for veteran quarterbacks if he wasn't making a lot of money.
But he is, and that's part of this. So, I think Denver makes a lot of sense, obviously, for Aaron. The same places we've talked about. There's not that many spots, as crazy as it seems. Now, most teams, if you eliminate the NFC, the Bills are out, the Bengals are out, right? The Chiefs are out, the Chargers are out, right? So, okay, Raiders, Josh and Aaron.
I wouldn't say they're out, but it does feel like Denver's the leader in the clubhouse. It feels like it's going to be an upset if he doesn't end up there.
Which is odd, right?
Well, I mean, that's why they just hired the coach.
Yeah. I think Tennessee would be perfect. But here's the thing about like where people build homes. They have planes. Aaron's got a plane. Aaron can get from Nashville to Denver for dinner and vice versa if he wanted to, right?
Didn't Aaron buy like a $15 million house a couple years ago in Malibu? No one's like, I wonder if he's going to the Rams or the Chargers. No, he just wanted a sweet house.